The Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrians Committee meeting for Thursday, July 21st at 6 p.m. Start with the approval of minutes. Has everybody reviewed them? Any adjustments? Okay.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 2022 meeting.
Second.
Do I abstain? All in favor?
I would just say that the motion should be to approve the minutes from the June
I'm sorry.
meeting.
Oh, June meeting, okay.
Sorry.
So approval to approve the June minutes.
I'll second.
You seconded it? Okay. Is it an all in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain. That's right. That what I said? Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the next is appearance of interested parties. And the first one that I have is Gary Blake. If you would like to just come stand up here at the podium with the mic.
Okay.
Or sit, or you can sit too.
Okay, I have been approached by my neighbor living right next to me. I live on 841 Cummings Lane, and, I'm sorry, 941 Cummings Lane. And she lives right next door to me, and she complained a couple of times about traffic on the road and the possibility of getting animals run over and stuff like that, and asked if we could do something to control the speed. And then we just received a letter recently from another person on Cummings Lane asking for some kind of consideration to get the traffic slowed down on Cummings Lane.
Gary, could you give me maybe a cross street of the Cummings Lane that you're speaking of? Like what would be the cross street from Cummings Lane in the area?
Let's see, Shoreline.
Shoreline, okay. What neighborhood association is that? That's north? West? West Kaiser?
West Kaiser.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have
West
you-
Kaiser Neighborhood Association, and I'm a member of the board on that.
Okay, so you're well aware of what Cummings Lane, or the neighborhood association has come to us about the slowing down table, and that we were looking into that, and the city is doing some engineering information to see if it's possible for that slowing traffic mechanism. Are you aware of that?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No, it's not a question. I just want to know if you are aware that your association has been here representing. I'm going to ask, Rob, is this the same area that he's talking about on Cummings
Yes.
Lane? Okay,
And
so
that's why we're here tonight, is to continue the discussion.
right, and that's what I've asked the association to do, is to keep on us and keep coming every month to make sure that progress is happening and that we know where it's at. At this point, I have not talked to Bill Lawyer to see if any extra steps have happened, and unfortunately, Mike Griffin, who is our Public Works representative, is not here today to tell us any updates since last month. But where we left off, the engineers were supposed to review the area and give their report for that, and that's where we're at as far as the steps of what we're looking to do to that for that area.
Okay.
Okay, so I would encourage, or I'm sorry, go ahead, Hirsch.
I was just going to ask, Rhonda Rich was working on the neighborhood traffic management.
She was looking at this as far as getting a petition together.
Yeah, and doing that paperwork.
But I thought that this is where things kind of got a little off as far as steps go. I believe, and Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, are we past that, or do they still need that petition?
Well, last meeting, Mike reported that two traffic studies had been done and another one was underway. Since that was a month ago, they probably finished, I'm assuming that they would have finished the third one, but then the next step then would be, like you said, Jamie, that it would go to the engineer, the traffic engineers for study. Now, it doesn't hurt for the neighborhood association to be working on this neighborhood traffic management program, because if the engineers were to say that they didn't think that it needed to have any traffic calming devices, the neighborhood would already have some steps behind them towards going above past that and saying, well, it doesn't matter what they say, we would like this, that
Okay.
sort of thing. So I don't think there's any harm in them continuing on with that effort.
Okay. So I stand corrected as far as that point is that I think that this, we probably should get a petition that could be signed at you guys' at the associations. I'm sorry, I keep calling, the neighborhood association, so that people can sign it, especially on that street. I believe the details are in, and if you go on our website, the front page looks like this, and it says Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. And these are the steps that we need to take in order to get the traction we need. We need the support of the citizens in that area for the correction. Then it goes to the city for review. And then if they believe that it needs to go to the next step, which is where we're at, step 3, even though step 1 has only been the neighborhood association coming here and telling us as how we looked into it. But I think further support of your neighborhood citizens would be a good piece of detail to have with it. Mike? Oh.
Would the neighborhood association and the neighbor who wrote the letter, would they be willing to submit that letter to the committee as just another bit of evidence that?
I don't know if it was a letter. You guys just spoke about it?
We've had a letter received. We
Okay,
received a letter from a different person. The person next door to me just mentioned to me that they wanted to see some, traffic slowed down, and speed bumps might be the answer. And so I submitted that to Rhonda, but we just recently got a letter from another person on Cummings Lane, and specifically talking about trucks and so on.
And I believe what I remember from 2 months ago, there's some construction going on back in the neighborhood area, which is bringing probably more traffic to Cummings. Is that a true statement? Does anybody remember?
Yes.
No,
That's you? That's, okay, wrong neighborhood association. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So I think what would be a very good piece of, I don't know if you guys have started a petition yet. In here, there is already one that you can just print out and have at your meeting, and then explain to to your citizens.
I have an extra copy.
Yeah, that'd be great if you guys wanted to take that one, and then
Do you have one
you
of
could
those?
see.
I'll take it just in case, but we already submitted a traffic report, traffic management report to the city.
You did, okay.
So this is kind of our
Follow-up?
basically our follow-up on that.
I was unaware of that, so thank you for telling us about that. I would definitely take the submissions of the letters so that we can get
Yeah,
in.
I actually came to read it, but I do have a copy of it if you would like. I can.
So when we call you up, you'll read it, and then if we can get that to Debbie so that she can get it in the right hands.
Sure.
All right. So I think I've answered your question, Gary. I think that at this point, we do know that there is an issue and that there are concerned citizens in that for Cummings Lane and looking for calming traffic devices to be considered. And the city seems to be in response of it. Just takes a little bit of time. So,
Yes.
And I appreciate the neighborhood association coming in and staying on the top of this since it affects their area.
Yeah, I think if we can respond quickly, whether it's positive or negative, if we can respond quickly, that would be good. I haven't had 2 residents on the street ask for follow-up like they are now. So
Right.
that, to me, that really
That's a raised
shines
concern.
the light on something going on, so.
I agree.
Could I ask one question?
Yes, Hirsch, go ahead.
Have you contacted the school district? because they're a critical component of
That's true.
Cummings.
I have not contacted the school. You mean the high school?
No, for Cummings Lane, it would be Cummings Elementary.
Right, that's the street that we believe is of concern.
They have been very, especially when we were putting in the sidewalks and everything, they were critical supporters of that. And for slowing the street, I'm sure the school district would be, in their risk management, having a letter from them going into the packet would carry some weight to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'd be glad to get in touch with them and see if they have something, a comment to make. But I go down that street quite a bit because I live there. And, you know, when the people are out directing traffic at the school, things are pretty easy to keep track of. It's pretty easy to know to slow down. But it's when the crossing guards aren't there and there's no kids present, that's when it really gets carried away, and we get a lot of trucks coming up and down the street and so on. So it definitely needs to be looked into.
I believe that we are taking the steps to have it looked into. It's a matter of getting the engineer and hearing what they have to say for that survey. And then when that comes back, as Debbie said, if we had a petition for what the citizens have concern for, that would help support making a change, even if the survey came back saying not necessary.
Okay.
Michael?
This isn't specific to what you're saying, but I was just, as I was looking through the program procedures, it says step 1, you know, the petition that you folks have already submitted. But it says for step 2, it says rank by criteria. Number 1 is 5 miles an hour or more over the 85th percentile. My opinion is it should be over the speed limit sign, not the 85th percentile, because if a street is designed for people to go faster than the speed limit, then your 85th percentile is going to be already above the speed limit. And then also it talks about an hourly estimate of 25 or more cut-through vehicles. I don't know how you estimate that. You know, someone could say, I'm not cutting through, I'm going through this neighborhood because I need to get somewhere. So I guess my point then with that, all that is, I think the criteria, you know, we've talked about updating certain things. I think that would be another thing that we should look at, the criteria for these.
Maybe clarifying, and that's actually on number 5 for consideration, so we'll bring that back up when we get to it. I will say this, a component that I hear that your neighborhood association is missing is somebody from the schools for representing. And you might want to call Cummings and ask. Sanka South Kaiser Neighborhood Association has somebody coming from Weddell every single meeting and just giving a report of what they're witnessing and having any or want to bring up.
It's West Kaiser Neighborhood Association.
Well, right, I was just making an example that South has a member from the school district, or school, from Weddell School, coming every meeting. So I think that piece would actually help. So what I would encourage your neighborhood association to do is give a call to the principal at Cummings Elementary and explain your concern of even though it's not of the hours of them, but maybe they can write a letter, and that would be a third letter in support of making some adjustments there. This also might be able to tie into a little bit more of some other programs that we have going on, the Salem Kaiser Safe Routes to School. But in order to get to that piece, because we did apply for a grant, what was the grant that we just were denied for?
It was for Kennedy.
It was for Kennedy. I'm so sorry.
Cummings is part of the Safe Routes to School program with Salem Kaiser. There's like 9 schools, and Cummings is one of them. So the principal would be, as well as, well, it's not McCray anymore, but
Right.
Safe Routes to School could even submit a letter to the school district. So
And
Well, I know.
I'm just talking about giving more ammunition.
to get this moving, because
I get what you really, I know the neighborhood, I believe what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good relationship with the principal and other people at West Kaiser, at the Cummings Elementary. So we'll surely contact them. I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yes, yeah, no, I think that would be a good extra asset to what's going on here, because on top of that, let's say we do get approval, now the city has to find the money for it, because none of this is budgeted in the current budget. And it sounds like the neighborhood association is wanting to move a little bit faster, so they're gonna have to find some money under the bed.
Again, it might
Well.
be some safe routes to schools.
Yeah,
For the school in that area, funding for kids is quicker than for us adults.
that's right.
And yes, the school has certain hours, but there's activities at that school all the time. So whether it's sanctioned or not, there's kids around there.
I do believe that would be a great asset to add to that, Gary.
Yeah. Well, I think, right now, if you go up and down Cummings Lane, you're not going to see any traffic at all from the school. No crossing guards or anything, because they're out of school right now. So, and that's what the people that have sent the letter were complaining about, is not the school. They're complaining about the road itself being traveled too fast and, trying, or not really following the normal laws and rules of traffic. So, and that's why we're asking for the help and the support.
So have you seen, the little black, little lines that they put on for cars to drive over? There should have been something that went in, I don't know what it's called, I'm sorry. But it's the thing where they count how many cars are going by. And public safety, a counter, okay. So that is part of the step 2, the daily volume over 800 vehicles per day that they should have monitored and have a report. But as Debbie said, most likely we're probably not going to I can inquire on it and see if, bring something to the August meeting. Does that work? Okay.
Well, I appreciate you thinking this through, and if we can help in any way, please let us know. We'll be glad to support you in whatever way we can.
And letters to Bill Lawyer as well, that helps as well too. It doesn't have to just go directly to us. It is nice for us to be involved. It would be nice actually to see what was submitted to the city. I guess that's maybe personal for me to know. But maybe we could have that record on file, and if you guys could bring that to us, that way we can see it. Because I didn't realize that a petition or some document has been submitted to Bill Lawyer to start this process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We've submitted something to the city? Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have my email, so you can send it to me and I'll make sure the committee gets it. Okay?
Hirsch, if you had something?
Just a final, I'm learning from you guys because I'm your next door neighborhood association. So we're going to be learning from you guys and be very supportive of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're Northwest Kaiser,
Oh, okay. Good.
just across the Schmola Road from you guys.
We're learning
Yeah,
So
from
thank you.
you guys. You guys are definitely taking a lead in this, and we appreciate it and staying on it. It's the only way to move things through.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Okay.
We're good? We're good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Next interested party is Rob Witters. Hi.
Madam Chair, Board, thank you for allowing me a few minutes here. It's nice to follow somebody like Gary, because I could probably just say ditto and be done with it. But a few things. One is, one of the reasons for being here was I was hoping to find out the status of the reports, like we heard earlier, last meeting, 2 of the 3 had been completed, so we were hoping to find out. And then also, I mean, I'd like to get in the record, if possible, we'd like to get a copy of them also, so that we can kind of see what they're using or what criteria they're using. But with that said, I do have a letter that I plan on reading. This actually came in through our neighborhood Facebook page. They contacted, got the email address of our president, Rhonda. And so if I can, it won't take long. It says, Rhonda, I was given your email address by your Facebook manager. I have lived on Cummings for 15 years and watched it steadily become a thoroughfare for all those people avoiding the intersection at Shamawa and River. It was made even worse with the traffic light installed at Delight and Shamawa. I'm not able to attend the meeting tomorrow. My daughter is returning from her exchange trip to Germany and I'll be at the airport. I know recently there has been some movement about speed calming on Cummings and Shoreline. I usually can't attend meetings since I'm a night worker, but I read the meetings from the last Traffic Safety Commission meeting where the Neighborhood Association representative commented on only one person from Cummings at the meeting. Speed reduction is a huge issue for me. We need speed bumps all along Cummings, the whole length. Last year's rollover, pedestrians getting hit, it needs to stop. Since I can't attend, I chose to send this message. Hopefully it counts. Someone at the meeting, I work in law enforcement and can tell you that speed bumps work and the speed on the street is out of control. There is now even truck traffic on Cummings, dump trucks, and others over 25,000 gross volume weight. The road apparently needs marked no trucks as well. It really needs to get under control. This is a neighborhood. Thank you. And then this was from Jeff Carpenter, who lives at 302 Cummings. So again, this was, we did back in January, we did go and knock on doors, but it was mostly just to tell people that we were going to have our original meeting with Chief Teague. And but we haven't been out really, petitioning or asking people for comments since then. So this kind of came in based on their observation or frustration or whatever. But anyways, so again, just want to get it on the record and make sure we're not forgotten that this is important to the neighborhood, and we think it's needed.
Well, Rob, I do think that putting it on your agenda and just having the petition set to the side and encouraging anybody that is attending to maybe put their name on that petition will actually help instead of knocking door to door, since you've already gone out once. Mm-hmm. That way that list can grow and we can get a good amount of people that are behind this on that street. What it lists on there that they're going to need to add is their name, signature, and their address and their phone number. That way, hopefully, most of them are on that street. Please take that copy that Debbie offered so that you can read through this again and just make sure that we've crossed our T's and dotted our I's for what we're making sure that we as citizens have submitted to the city for request.
Okay.
Hi, go ahead, Michael.
This isn't specific to what you were saying, Rob, but this is more of a general thing. We've talked about, the 3 E's of traffic calming is education, enforcement, and engineering. And unfortunately, in my opinion, we've relied too heavily on the education and enforcement and not enough on the engineering. And I know engineering costs money, but with education, we can tell people over and over again to watch their speed, but that doesn't always, find good soil for the seed to grow. For enforcement, we only have so many police officers. They can't be everywhere, so they're not going to catch speeders all the time, or probably most of the time. And so engineering is the thing that's there 24/7 and has a subconscious effect of slowing people down. Another thing I was thinking was, I think there's like 3 types of speeders we have. The people who are inadvertently speeding because their vehicle just, makes it. I know ours, we feel when you're doing the speed limit, you feel like you're going slower than the speed limit. So you just you start creeping faster, then you've got the people who think, well, if I do 5 or so miles an hour, I'm not going to get a ticket for that, and I'll just do it anyway, And then, of course, you got the people who think every street is a drag race. So I think the engineering is going to address the first two groups, and then we could rely on enforcement to deal with the people who, you could put whatever number on the sign and they don't care. So that's.
I agree, yes.
So I know that I'm pushing it again, and who knows, we should probably start counting how many months this is going to take, but stick with us, and we'll keep supporting you, your association, your neighborhood association, with this matter, and hopefully we can come to it, we get some details so we can move forward and know what direction to go in.
Right, and we do appreciate the support that you're offering us, and unfortunately, our next meeting is September, I think it is. We're off for the summer, so we won't be able to put that out until then. But in the meantime, I have written some notes about, contacting the school and what have you. So, we're gonna,
Awesome.
no stone left unturned.
That's all right. Good. Go ahead, Michael.
I don't know if it matters, but so if we're focusing on Cummings, the people who sign the petition have to be on Cummings.
Of that street.
So if you want to, I guess, look at other areas too, you'll have to have separate sign-up petitions.
Okay.
Yeah, it states that in here.
Right, we're asking, we're requesting a speed table for Cummings, and then a stop sign on Shoreline and Dearborn, is that right? I think it's right. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
what was the second thing?
stop sign
Okay.
at Shoreline and Dearborn.
And that was what the
That's-
request, the
that's
written
part of the
request had
request.
said? Okay.
Yeah.
I would really like to see that request. I just think that to pass that through us to see, so that we can ask the questions that are needed. Okay, Hirsch, did you have something too?
Well, it was just that Chief Teague's the one that recommended
The table, yeah.
And I appreciate you calling them speed tables and not speed bumps, because the engineering has completely changed. And as a cyclist, I hate speed bumps, but speed tables are fine. And speed tables are more like what's over at Weddell and Claggett
Sure.
schools.
Okay. Anything else? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Hirsch.
Should I give the-
All right. So moving on to consider changing the committee purpose. This is something that I had brought up 2 months ago, and Stephen had picked out an area that we really felt that needed to be changed. And in order to move forward, I would need consent from the committee in order to submit this for a change. Go ahead, Hirsch.
This has been needed for a long time because of the changes with the Council of Governments and their involvement and everything related to bicycles. So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we recommend this wording change for our bylaws.
It's for your purpose.
Purpose. Yeah, not,
For the committee to be approved by City Council.
Second. Thank you, Steve.
Who seconded?
Stephen.
Okay.
I think now we have discussion.
Is it, okay. Discussion on the matter, please.
I just had a question, and maybe Debbie, you know this answer. So when I've been talking about how we, can have more of a role in reviewing future plans, is that something that would get changed also within the committee purpose? Not necessarily this specific one, but
I don't believe so. That's the TSP, isn't it?
No, I think Mike is appropriately asking about the purpose, and yes, but I think that you would need to come up with some specific wording for the purpose and then recommend it to council. I think this has been brought up before, and I know that this committee has a greater purpose than a more detailed purpose rather than most of the other committees. Most of the other ones just have sort of generic purposes with just one paragraph that's a little bit different. Your purpose is different from all the others. So your request would probably be more appropriate than it would be for some of the other committees. But you would have to go through the regular steps.
Okay.
And you'd need probably some pretty specific verbiage.
Okay.
I'll work on that for the next time.
Well, with that said, I'm not going and submitting one paragraph at a time. I would much rather one
No, I
purpose
think
be
you should.
sent.
Because if you come up with one paragraph, that's one thing, but if you come up with two, they might shut you down completely.
Really?
It's sort of like combining motions. We never recommend that either.
Okay.
Because a part of one motion might not, somebody might not appeal to approve of. So best to do this one thing at a time.
Thank you for your direction, Debbie.
Debbie, is it best to do it one thing at a time, or to do it as just individual motions so that one could be, I mean, might still submit them at the same time, but one motion the city council might look favorably on, perhaps asking the council liaison how that might play.
I would recommend, like Debbie said, to do them separate.
Okay. So just do this one first and then.
So, okay. What, Michael, okay, go ahead. Hirsch?
This change really came from the bikeways committee when it emerged.
Right.
So this is really focused on the bike
Portion of the
portion
purpose.
only.
Okay,
And does give us, as a committee, as well as people from the bike portion, to focus on the transportation plan, to give information. What Mike's talking about, if maybe River Road changes and things, this focuses on the bike portion only.
okay.
And it is a good change. It should have been done a long time ago, for sure. But I'm for sending this to city council.
Okay.
And it's, again, with the merger, they just kind of threw both of them together. And
Right.
that's why we have a little larger in this kind of changes, brings it up to date, what's really going on out in the field.
All right, because the purpose, as I looked at it, I actually have a copy of it from when I first brought this up. I found out that a Marion County Fire District and Kaiser Fire District shall serve as non-voting officio, I can't say that word,
Officio.
officio members. So, and we don't ever see them here.
They are invited. They are
they are.
invited to every meeting.
Yeah, they're invited, but I was going to reach out and chat with them and just kind of introduce myself as the chair and see where that goes. Good luck, right? Thanks, Hirsch.
It doesn't hurt, okay. It's just that I think every chair has done that, at least
Really?
once.
Okay.
The school district, we did have a person for a short time, it was the principal at Kennedy, and then she got promoted, and then school district,
Well,
it's, with the school district, we pull them in, like with Cummings and things like that.
on specific
Yeah, on specific
items,
issues.
got it. Well, I would encourage the committee to review this purpose again and see if there's anything else that pulls, that you would want to see done. And we'll have to bring it in a second motion later down in the year. Before I close out the discussion, Michael, you had one more thing?
Yeah, maybe beyond this as well. But, we've talked, I know Hirsch and I have talked about when businesses decide where to put bike parking facilities. As bicyclists, we tend to think they're not always the best location. Could and should we have something in this that would include our input on that, or do you all think that should be?
I'm going to probably
Separate.
say that this is going to be homework B, because A is coming up on number 5. And I would encourage the committee to review this one more time and look to see if there's anything else. But we're going to move forward with the consideration of this change for this part of the purpose of the bicycle part. And if the discussion is done, I'm going to ask for a, what's it called, a motion? Motion or?
Final
Call
vote.
for the
Of-
question.
Say it again?
Call for the question.
Call for the question?
That means that's time to vote.
Call for the question. All right, let's call for the question then.
You did.
I did. I'll do it 3 times. Call for the question. All right.
So then you say all in.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tammy, is she there?
Tammy, are you there?
Yep, aye. Okay.
Thank you, Tammy. All right, with that, the motion is approved, and we will take it to council. Debbie, is there something that maybe the committee needs to do at
Well, if, normally the council liaison for the committee would bring that up in his committee reports, but if he doesn't want to, then you might assign somebody from the committee to go. All the counselors see the minutes, so they'll know it's there, but they get so many, they don't
Yeah.
necessarily have time to read them all. So if you want some action, it's best to bring it to their attention. So if somebody wants to, we
Well,
have.
I'm the council
who's-
liaison for the.
For the next meeting.
So
This is-
Stephen,
this
you
lines
could
up
go ahead and do that.
perfect.
Yeah.
You want
All
to,
right.
I'll make sure you have a draft of the minutes so you
Very
can
good.
share it with them. They won't take action at that time, then it will have to go, the city attorney will take it from there.
Okay.
Do we need to submit anything in writing, just saying we're,
No, they'll have the minutes, so they'll have the exact words, that whole part in italics. I'll just include that in the motion, because that's what you indicated when you made your motion. So they'll have those exact words. They may wordsmith them, the city attorney may wordsmith them some, or even when he brings it forward to council, they may wordsmith it some too, but at least you've gotten it in front of them.
Awesome. I believe that this is the direction we need to go into, is making sure that our purpose and our documents, I think that's kind of where I'm good for this committee and making sure for us to go forward. Counselor, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Davis. Debbie, so to get that on the agenda, do we need does this committee need to do anything else, or is that something that you will submit to Counselor Johnson, who will then wordsmith all that and put it on? Or how does it get on the council agenda?
When Stephen comes with his report, then the council, he'll suggest, make the recommendation to council, and then the mayor will say, let's put this on the agenda. So it will be up to the mayor to do that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Stephen, that works for you?
Yes.
You got the committee? Great. Hirsch?
I just wanted to address Michael on businesses. And I think the best way is for us to continue doing what we're doing with the planning commission. Because when we were on the planning commission, we got that in the building part within 50 feet. Now, there's been some issues related to that, but, Jersey Mike's. The coffee shop's way at the other, but technically it met. It's those kind of things, and all the builders and businesses go to the planning commission first.
Right.
So that's probably why we're monitoring the planning commission. We can give our 2 cents there,
Yeah.
because that gets codified, so.
I guess if planning staff could, throw it our way and say, hey, there's a new building proposed. What do you think of their location?
Well, we'll be hearing about
Yeah.
that, so.
You're okay? I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right, number 5, committee update to neighborhood traffic management program. So I'm going to start this off, and I had asked Debbie to print out the neighborhood traffic management program. As I started looking through it, I'm like, wow, how is a citizen really going to be able to navigate this and really take it to the next step? And with this year, with the West Kaiser Association, it's really become very clear to me that it's not clear. So I was going to task this committee to take this packet and over the next 30 days, review it, write on it, make notes. And either we can go one of 2 ways. We can either set a task force to go over it and have one document that the whole committee reviews. at possibly not the next meeting, but the September meeting is what I'm thinking. And I wanted comment from everyone of what they think is the best way for us to do this and make sure it gets accomplished in the next 2 months.
Well, I want to say, first of all, I was going to mention this earlier, but I'm going to miss the next 2 meetings.
Okay.
For Cycle Oregon Prep and then Cycle Oregon.
Okay.
But, so I will, for my part, I will look at it and I will try to come up with some maybe ideas and submit them well, yeah, I'll send it to
Yes, send it to
Debbie
Debbie via email and she'll send it to the whole
people.
committee.
And that will be sort of the way my input, I think.
Okay,
is on
and
this.
but you'll still be able to go to the meeting on the 1st?
Yes.
Okay, and then will you
And
email,
then the planning commission, I can do that as
will you
well.
send a memo, maybe just giving us an update so that we have it to verbally say here at the meeting?
Yes, I will do
Okay,
that.
thank you. Michael,
I think probably a subcommittee would be most efficient.
you think so?
Unless we did a work,
Well, the only thing about a subcommittee is,
3 people?
you're 7, it has to be 3 people.
Right.
You can't have 4.
right.
Okay, comments?
Well, shouldn't we all input it? I mean, that's fine. Subcommittee makes sense after everybody's done the preliminary input. I
Okay,
mean, this thing's, we're just trying to figure out how old this is.
Well,
Well, it's gotta be over 20 at least.
yeah,
What year?
1999, it's on the bottom.
yeah.
Okay, 23 years.
we're right, yeah.
Oh, there it
22
was,
years.
yes. Okay. You want to
So-
expect me to read?
So this is what I'm thinking, is that if the committee will at least make their comments on theirs, bring them
Yeah.
back to be compiled together by a 3-person subcommittee. And do I have any volunteers? I'm taking one of the spots. Michael, can I get one more? No? Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be telling people they can only ride with rodeo hats or something. All right.
So just 2 of the 2 of you?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I'll join the committee.
Oh, okay, Tammy.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, Tammy.
And I'm very willing to do this via Zoom if we want to do it that way. I think it might be a little bit easier maybe to just go to the coffee shop though too. So I will send out after the next meeting in August, we will plan a date for that to happen prior to the September meeting.
So do you want the full committee's comments by August or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anything that they can submit, and you can submit it at any time to Debbie if you're writing on it.
If you're writing on it and you're not particular about keeping it, you can just bring it in, or you can scan it, or you can take photographs of it.
Okay.
Just make sure that they're readable and color. If you can mark it in red, that makes it that much easier for everybody.
I agree. Brings your eyes to it.
I
This is a-
think that I sent this to you, if you would,
Yes.
did I send it to you in Word, or was it a PDF? I think it was a PDF.
Yeah.
I can, if you want to do it on your computer, I can convert it to Word. So-
Word's easier.
Yeah, because,
Track
okay,
changes.
well, I'll just plan on sending everybody a Word document, and that way you can mark it up on your computer. And you can either use track changes, or you can just use red font with your changes.
That works. Thank you. What I'm looking here for is that 20 years later, city has grown. Is this still applicable? And if not, some not exactly. So that's where I got frustrated and called Debbie, and she told me that this is the best place to bring this and have us really absorb
But even then,
it.
it could be simplified.
Well,
Or at least there's other things you can do besides change it. You can add a
My goal,
brief flow chart, do these 3 things and we'll help you out.
yeah, my goal is to be able to hand this to neighborhood associations so that they can run with it, and because they're the ones that are really connected to the citizens.
and so this was not written when we had a lot of neighborhood associations.
Exactly. So I think this is the right direction to move.
So did I.
Michael, you had some?
Debbie, would we be able to do a Google Doc?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Word works.
Yeah,
I-
it works. I just thought Google, that way we're all in it.
I don't mind doing that when the subcommittee. I would much rather compile all the data from individual thought process first, and then we can take that in and bring it all together.
So you want, is everybody to have their edits to you by August 18th, or that's our next meeting?
It is our next meeting. Can help me out with the dates. Does it need to be done before the agenda is approved?
No, I don't think so. You'll be addressing it at the meeting, or you'll have all the edits. When you two work together, when the three of you rather work together, that will be when it needs to be included in the packet.
Okay.
So as it starts out, it's just a working document.
Okay. So, go ahead, Rick.
Am I correct in my understanding that Rhonda Rich has filled this out?
That's what I'm
Okay,
understanding.
Do either one of you from the West Kaiser area know how much trouble did she have with this? Or were there some specific things that we ought to be looking for?
We should
I don't
probably,
know of any specifics, but I know that it was not easy.
No.
probably somebody call her.
Well, I know
She
I've
may know
been,
more about this than we do.
it would be nice to know from the her perspective.
Carolyn might know, she may have.
Oh,
She's
here she
coming
comes.
back.
Okay. That was a good question, Rick.
Did you work with Rhonda to fill out
Traffic management program?
Well, no, I just know she turned it in.
Okay.
Well, I know she talked to Bill and said there's a lot of stuff that.
Didn't pertain.
Fill out because you don't know the traffic count.
Carol, can you come up so that we can hear you? Or,
Sorry.
that's okay.
These chairs don't
Got the
go
brakes
very
on.
well. There's just a lot of stuff that we couldn't fill out because you don't know the traffic counts. You don't know, I mean, we can't count the cut-through vehicles.
Right.
We can't, I mean, there were just tons of things that were just like, and then we'd held the 2 meetings and we had a lot of community comment about speeding throughout the neighborhood, but on those, Dearborn and Cummings and Shoreline, they just kept coming up all the time, Rafael too. And so,
Are those comments in your minutes?
yeah,
Have you sent me the minutes?
I think they're on the website.
Oh, yes, you've got, you have your own website. Yes, so West Kaiser Neighborhood Association has their own website. It's WKNA.org, or is that what it is?
No, it's westkaiserne.org.
Okay.
So it seems like there's elements of this that maybe can be filled out by citizens that live there and know what's going on. But then there's other elements that need to be filled out by public works staff
Right.
or the police department.
Right.
When you get down to some of those things.
Right. And I don't believe that this is showing who's responsible for what piece in order to move it forward. And that, my idea is that once we finish making all the adjustments, that there's somehow this spreadsheet that goes behind here that really says, this is the steps the neighborhood association takes, this is the steps that the committee can help with, and then where the city takes it from there to city council for approval and the next steps. I know, it's a lot, right?
Well, and, I mean, she turned it into Bill. We haven't heard I know they started the studies, but we haven't heard anything else, so.
Right, and at the last meeting, I guess, it was 2 studies were done, and then we had one more.
Yeah, there were 3 to be done on Cummings, and 2 were done, and Shoreline had been done, but we don't know the results of any of them, so.
Well, we will
just
do
kind of-
our best to bring something to the
Yeah.
August meeting, because I wasn't at the July meeting, and having both our representatives for Public Works and police out, I'm kind of at a standstill this month, so I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, well, and, yeah, that's kind of where we were too, since the studies weren't done, and so we didn't know
Yeah,
if they felt there was any need to even go any further. If the studies, Bill indicated if the studies didn't indicate a need, then they wouldn't do anything anyway, so.
that's what I want to, so the yes, no's, like if it comes back no, what is our next step? Because it's something that we still want. And I believe Debbie did give us the next thing is to have the citizens, especially on Cummings Lane, make
Yeah,
sure that they all
We'll
are.
pursue it, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
And then that's just one backing, just in case they come back and say no, because now we're saying, nope, the citizens still want it. And I do believe that if we add the principal's comments from Cummings Elementary, that'll be another element that will help us get traction.
And I know we've reached out to him. I don't know if we asked him specifically about Cummings, but he's been to one of our meetings.
He did, okay.
The problem for a representative is that their PTA meets the same day that we do, the same evening. So it's been hard to get
Somebody there.
We can't send anybody to their meeting and
They're gonna miss
can't
out
get
on
anybody
yours.
from theirs, but we'll continue to reach out to him.
Okay, okay. Michael?
I just wanted to comment on my earlier comment. It's a partial mea culpa. Stephen pointed out that last flow chart where I mentioned it says 5 miles or more over the 85th percentile speed. The language in the document, I'll read it. 85th percentile speed is 5 or more miles per hour above the posted speed. So that kind of takes into consideration what I was talking about, the posted speed. My contention still, that can still be allowing for speeding that we're trying to address. So I still think there's language tweaks, but I guess whoever wrote the flow chart at the end misinterpreted.
Well, no, because I do believe that the studies are doing these things. This is not for the association to do. We do not have a citizen sitting outside counting how many cars go by. That's what the city will do for us, because they have mechanisms to hopefully monitor, or do monitor that stuff.
Oh, I just meant the way they wrote number 1. It's not quite the same thought process as how it's written, like on page 5.
The actual criteria.
Yeah.
The
and
criteria.
process.
So
Yeah.
see, that's areas that we want to
Yeah.
see written out a little bit clearer. But if it is a 5-step process, we are in step 2. Once we get the report back, then we have the challenge of funding, and that, well, we don't, the council does. So we will.
Yeah, we've
we'll go
always
from there.
understood it has to get in the budget at some point, but
At what point? Yeah, I agree with
you
you.
have to have your ducks in a row
Yeah.
to even get to that point, so.
Oh, trying to line them up. Thank you for coming up and chatting with us, Carol. Thank you. All right. Excited for that work to get rolling. So next thing on the list is the scheduled volunteer slots for Kaiser Fest booth. Who knows more about this? Oh, Miss Debbie,
So,
go ahead.
I just didn't have a chance to tell you all this before. The Community Diversity Engagement Committee wanted to have a booth at Kaiser Fest, and turns out that the chamber gives the city a free booth if they ask for it. So they did ask for it, and there is enough room to have, because they're probably just going to have a survey, and maybe that's all, and a couple people standing there talking to people. So I know this committee has talked from time to time about having a booth there at the Kaiser Fest. I remember years ago, they used to even have a bike rodeo and a bike corral where people could keep their bikes when they came to the event. And so I didn't know if y'all wanted to pursue that and have people come and.
What's the date on that again?
The
It would be
13th to the 18th?
August, yeah, I think so.
This hour?
August 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Yeah,
So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
right. They do have a setup time, but, and I don't know that, I think, Hirsch probably knows more about this. Do they, when you get their tent and everything, do they set it up for you so you don't have to worry about doing
This is at
that?
Kaiser Rapids Park.
It is, yeah.
The last time we did it, I did it there a couple times. They just gave us a stake in the ground.
Right, but
and said, this is your area, and we put up our own,
right, but I have requested a tent.
oh, okay.
So, I mean, that was part of the application. You had that choice, and I
Wow.
thought, well, that would make it a lot easier.
So it's a screen, basically.
I don't know exactly. I think it's just a cover.
It's
with
just a, it's not a
poles.
real, yeah. okay,
Yeah, right,
side of it,
yeah.
okay.
Well, I have boxes and boxes of stuff from traffic safety that could be put there. I can't commit time and all
I
this
can.
for me, so
You can?
Some.
I cannot.
I'll have to go
I
check my
understand.
calendar, but I will mention that we ran a bike corral twice.
Can you tell me what a bike corral is?
A lot, if people ride their bikes down there, we put a little fence, around, just on a ribbon, and we were there all the time. And people would come in and park their bike, they may or may not, most of them locked it, but they didn't have to, and we gave them a ticket, coupon. And we watched their bikes, and we had the other piece, and so nobody could take a bike. It was like sitting from here to the other end of the table here. We wouldn't let anybody take any bikes out unless we knew who they were. Most of the people we knew. That's the good news. And so we were securing people's bike. Bad news, we had over 2 years, 6 bikes.
And-
So it turned out that the system looked good, but either they didn't know about it or they didn't use it, or they decided to walk with their bikes or something.
Oh, with Kaiser Rapids, this is the first year we're having Kaiser Fest at Kaiser Rapids,
No?
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it was the Public Works
Yes.
down there, but yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, kind
A
of.
much smaller level of the event at the Public Works Show, but yes.
Well, seems like, anyway, so yeah, if people will come by, we can get rid of some helmets, fit some helmets. We got a lot of,
Well, we got some other helmet events coming up, so,
well, just make sure we have enough helmets.
Yeah.
We got enough money, though.
yeah. But I can somehow get stuff, who should I get the stuff to you?
Well, for now,
Well-
watch and wait. Well, we don't have much time. When is this, the
No, it's
13th?
before-
It's 2 weeks.
It's before our next meeting, yes, so this
3
is, I know
weeks.
spur of the moment. So, it would be nice if somebody would kind of take the lead on, getting the stuff and then taking it there, and then maybe, I had, I don't know where it is, I printed out a schedule of 3-hour shifts, but I can send it to everybody if you want, and maybe you can sign up for different shifts
Well-
if you like, and that way it'll
Well,
be
if I
covered.
know when the setup is, I'm only 3 blocks from the
Uh-huh.
road. I can bring all the stuff over there, but
Okay.
I cannot commit to anything.
Well, the other one is, we don't have that much. Like, I know everything fits in my truck or yours.
Right.
So if we run out of people, we just shut down.
Right, yeah, you can do that.
I mean, I'm not gonna be there after, well, it depends, like Saturday, about 6 o'clock. I mean, I'd probably be there from like 11 to 6, but,
11 to
Well,
6.
I'll
well,
send
just
out,
6 hours.
I'll send out the schedule, and y'all can sign up for as many positions as you want, and anybody,
All I need to know for me is just when they're gonna do the setup, and I
Okay.
can bring the boxes over.
okay,
I'll-
and actually, I
I'll-
know that offhand, because you can come on Wednesday, but probably it'd be best to come Thursday morning. I'll give you the exact times, but I think
For
up
setup?
until 10. You know, since you don't have to do the the tent, all you need to do is bring your boxes and set them on a table.
Well,
We'll need to
Right,
bring
but
a
if there's-
table.
But on Thursday, the big event's gonna be what, Saturday?
Saturday, well, Friday and Saturday.
Friday and
and
Saturday,
Saturday and Sunday. So, but there is,
If there's an
on
event in the evening on Thursday.
Thursday, right, yes, uh-huh,
I
yeah,
don't
music and that sort of
That's
stuff,
too much
yeah.
for-
I have a question.
Yes,
What happens to our materials when we leave them there? Do they just stay
put
there?
them back in your car.
So you're bringing them every day?
Yeah. Most of the stuff, and when I looked at how much, we've done this a couple times.
More than a couple times.
But we have 2 big satchels with all, a couple 100 pounds of paperwork. And then we have 3 big bags of helmets.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna be able to do the helmets at this event.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't want to be responsible for your,
No, I'm not leaving
Inventory.
anything there.
The traffic safety information stuff,
that you'll
I'm
get
not
us.
worried about, because if it gets thrown away, ODOT's gonna give us 10,000 more.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But the helmets, that's another story, and I have some other helmet events coming up. so.
Okay, so,
However, I would do it on the assumption we were selling, I'm not, fitting some helmets. We didn't have that many, we only sold maybe
Yeah, well,
20 in 2 days. That's not very
I
many.
just can't commit for this
But
month.
do we have the helmets?
Yes,
And we have lots of helmets. don't we?
yes, we do.
are you going 11 to 6 every day?
2 days.
2 days,
I
okay.
don't know about Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday's usually a quiet day
Yeah,
anyway.
they're starting it.
Well, why don't we then only have the helmets the 2 days you're there?
Okay,
I mean, I've done like the open house and the public works and the Kaiser Fest and
Well,
11 to 6, though.
I usually bring something to eat.
The retired life,
Well,
huh?
if nobody's there, you just quit and pack up and go. Nice thing about Kaiser Rapids Park, I can probably drive the truck up to the tent.
Okay.
So even with just one arm, I think I
only,
can. load it.
only for the setup, yeah, I don't know at the end of the day and all of that.
Yeah.
It's only for
they're
the
gonna
setup.
be real picky on
I
Yeah,
have a
they
big-
are,
I have
and
a big
it's
wagon.
clear on the, okay, yeah, that would be good, because it's
Yeah.
clear on the application, no trucks or vehicles
Yeah.
after the initial setup time.
Okay, so Debbie, please send us the email so that we can individually sign up for times. I definitely want to help out with that and spend a couple hours there.
So my question is, do you need tables or chairs?
I have-
Or do you have those?
I have a couple folding chairs and a 4-foot table, which is
That should be all you need, isn't it?
probably about all we need.
Okay, good, good.
It's not a big
Okay.
deal. It goes quick.
We do have, I should.
Okay,
right,
yeah.
sir. Okay. So
All right, I'm going to close that out. Thank you.
August 12th and 13th. Okay.
Okay. The committee member input and neighborhood association reports. Stephen, are you okay if we start with you?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything, okay. Michael?
Yeah, so I'll give you the background and then explain why we're doing this here. So I went and talked to the city manager to ask about if we could work towards becoming a tree city. There's some steps involved, but he was open to it. He wanted to have a motion, though, from a committee to then have the council approve it or not. He recommended that we do it through this committee, I think because it was my idea and this is the committee I'm on. So,
Can you tell me, elaborate on what a tree city is?
yeah, so Tree City, the program is designed to do kind of like, what I was talking about earlier. It's a bit of an education thing where you put out information and outreach to the public on, the benefits of trees, but it also allows you to participate in programs where citizens can get reduced cost trees. And then, if the city wants to pursue it even further, they can do planning code changes that would maybe increase the number of trees per acre of development or such. But through the urban forestry, through ODF, they've assisted other cities. Our city manager, he said that he was working on that program in his previous position. He wasn't the instigator of it, but he was working on it. And then when he left, they hadn't finished it yet. But he said it was something it wasn't an onerous process for the city to go through.
Does this committee think that this is the appropriate area to bring to council?
I'm not sure, because I think of planning commission, I think of
Parks,
commission.
yeah.
Well,
Even stormwater.
I had said parks too, but I think it's because I'm the voice bringing it up. I think he thought, at least if we get a committee. And the one reason why I do think it's relevant to our committee is, and I'm sure you've all been driving down a street and the sun is blinding you and you think, gosh, if there were just some trees there blocking that sun.
There are studies that do show that trees and
Calming,
vegetation
yeah.
are calming.
Yeah.
Right.
So that
That's it.
has some merit, but I don't want to step on these other committees and say, well, that's our area.
Well, again, the city
Yeah, I know.
manager told me to have us do it, so that's the only reason why I'm gonna step on it, or offering to step on a toe.
I don't know what to do here.
We talked earlier about our purpose and committee purpose, and I don't think there's anything in there that addresses this.
Well, the mayor has expressed to me that she doesn't care for speed bumps and that tree calming, so I know I'm calling it wrong, but trees are easier in making people slow down on roads is what she explained to me. And I don't know exactly how that works. So I guess it does kind of fold into us.
Yeah, it's a visual cue of kind of closing you in so you drive slower.
What I would recommend is just developing a motion for the committee to consider in the next meeting and explain this is why this may fit into our purpose, and this is what the proposal actually is.
Okay.
And then we could vote on, okay, do we want to move that?
That's adding a lot to, who puts the motion together? Do you have literature?
I can write up the motion doesn't have to be.
So on our next agenda, we can call it Tree Cities.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you'll take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, thank you. Anything else to report?
The other thing was DLCD just approved their climate equity rules. That Kaiser is part of the Salem-Kaiser metro area, so we are under those rules. If you're unaware what those rules are, it's about trying to foster development that one, provides housing, but also does it in a way that doesn't increase especially single passenger vehicle driving, which pumps out pollutants causing or affecting the climate.
Okay, thank you. For what I had is I am monitoring the neighborhood, or the app called Nextdoor. And I know that it's actually getting a lot of traction on there. But I noticed something for Windsor Island Road in Chemawa and Lock Haven between July 18th and July 29th. They've closed the road to through traffic from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for reconstruction of the road.
Windsor Island?
I will talk about that.
You have it?
Yeah.
I gotcha. And then the second thing that I had was the Safe Routes to School Summit 2022, November 15th through the 17th. Is that on anybody's calendar to think about? Okay. Not yet? Okay, I understand. Because you were my person, Hirsch. If you will maybe put a little note on there, I will forward the email that I received to the committee to see. I know that's adding a lot to you. You know, you already do so much, and I appreciate it. Those were the only two things that I had. So I'll move on to Rick. Rick, do you have any updates that you'd like to give to the committee?
Yeah, today I attended the stakeholder meeting for the Brooks interchange, the
You did do that.
interchange area management
Okay.
plan. I'll try to keep this fairly short, because this is exactly what I did when I was earning a wage, so I could get really carried away here. It was run by the consultant team, and ODOT staff was there, and then several representatives from Kaiser. Mayor Clark and Councilor Duran were both on the call. Chief Cowan and Shane Witham were there too. They've looked at 6 different interchange designs, and I'll just talk really probably mostly about the 2 that they're recommending going forward. The other 4 were a couple of different ones that had loop ramps built into them. They had pretty significant right-of-way impacts and cost associated with them, so they're not recommending that those go forward. There was a single point diamond that they're not recommending, and if you know the Market Street interchange, it's like that, where all the traffic goes
Yeah.
through the one
Crisscross.
interchange. Yeah, they work great. I think they work great, yeah. But again, they're pretty expensive, and you can't really phase them in very well. You have to just do it at once. I'm going to pass these out, but I'll try to keep your attention before we get to that. The two that interchange concepts that are going forward, one's called a tight diamond, and it's very similar to what's there now, except the ramps are pulled in tighter to the main line of the freeway, and all of the left turning traffic that's queued up waiting to go through the interchange, that happens outside of the ramp area rather than between the ramps like they do now. It's the one that's probably got the least right-of-way impacts, and it's pretty good cost-wise also. The other one that they're calling the alternative going forward, and that's what I handed out because it's a new design. There are none in Oregon now. It's called the dog bone.
I wonder
And
why.
if you look at it, it kind of looks like the dog bone. And it almost looks like there's two roundabouts on each end,
Yeah.
but they're not exactly roundabouts because you can't go all the way around in a complete circle. And if you look at it closely and really kind of study it for a while, there are no stop signs, no signals. There was a lot of concern about trucks having to stop to get through all of this interchange. There is no stopping in that interchange. I guess they've been used in our neighboring states, not widely, but there are some examples. But there aren't any in Oregon yet. So that's the other alternative that is going forward. They went through the evaluation criteria, and like I said, it's cost, right-of-way impacts, environmental impacts, how it affects the businesses there, and so forth. And these are the two that really came out on top. The tight diamond would cost, the estimate right now anyway, is 57 million, and this dog bone is 59 million. ODOT made the comment that they're looking at this dog bone option on Highway 22 at the Independence Junction as a possible for a future grade separated interchange there.
Highway 22, okay, yeah.
And what's not shown on any of this is they would have to then modify the access for the May trucking facility on the north side, and then Pilot and all of the development that's on the south side. There's a street just to the west called Huff Avenue. Really, you recognize it as the entrance into Powerland on the north side. The Pilot on the south side, most of the access would be to Huff Avenue rather than directly on. There would be a right in and a right out, but those would be the only two movements that would go directly on to Brook Lake. All of the rest of the access on that south side would be via Huff, and then Powerland and the May trucking on the north side would all be via Huff. So
Thank you.
that's what we do. David and Hirsch I guess you were both on the calls this
Yeah, I
morning,
was
too,
listening.
Yeah, so they listened to it.
I found it, if you step back, it's almost like it's an experiment on ODOT's part sometimes. It's driven by commercial interest in developing Brook Lake Road,
Big time.
big time. But in the back of my mind, it reminded me of when, at one point in time, historically, they were trying to run another bridge across the Willamette using Brook Lake Road and punching it through. And I think, well, would that have that couldn't possibly have anything to do with it. Another was the fact that why Kaiser would be interested in something that's so far away would only be true if for some reason there's a plan to incorporate everything from here to Brook Lake Road. Otherwise, we're going to expand the urban growth boundary, maybe, even though the Long Range Planning Commission said no. Every organization you put together except the city council has said no to urban growth expansion. We know that it's just prime farmland, so we're gonna disregard the state's wishes on that also. It's mind-boggling of why we would, be interested in it. My only comment after listening to it was, how much is the trucking industry chipping in? 50%? Because it doesn't benefit any people. I mean, residents. So, I don't know.
It'll be
I can
interesting.
partially answer some of that, but then there's a thought too that I wanted to add too, and that is that this is a planning study. There's no construction or final design that is funded. ODOT has been doing these interchange management plans now for about 15 years or so. I did one over in North Ontario. And the purpose really is to get a handle on what the interchange in the future is going to look like, so that as development does happen, that access and all those sorts of things can be put into place that's compatible with a future design rather than being in conflict with it. And I guess, David, part of that answer too is, why would Kaiser be interested in, even if the urban growth boundary isn't expanded out there, Brooks Interchange still is a major access point for Kaiser, commercial and.
Especially River Road, yeah.
North Kaiser.
That's true.
Yeah.
I understand that part, but that's just people in
Go
cars.
ahead and get on the discussion, I guess.
microphone on?
Yep.
He's loud enough without.
We need it for the recording.
Michael.
Okay, his voice always comes out okay.
I have a question. I don't know if you can even answer it, because as you say, this is
Starting the
just
development.
came out, just in diapers still. Did they talk about how bicyclists would be getting through this thing, or in town?
How, what would be getting through?
Bicyclists would be getting through this thing?
No.
Because it looks like, it doesn't look very friendly if you want to be, bike tourism, I'm thinking, yeah. Or even people who live and work here who need to get through.
Just off the top of my head, it'd have to be probably something like a regular roundabout, except, these legs that are going off here are going to be freeway ramps, so that certainly complicates it.
There's no stopping.
Yeah, but no, they did not talk about that.
Oh, I see.
And I didn't ask
understand
any
now.
question, I was just listening, so.
Interesting. Thank you, Rick, for that update. I'm so glad that some of you attended this first initial meeting on what they're doing. Hirsch, could you go ahead and give us your update?
That stuff coming up, July 31st at 5 p.m. It's at the Salem Refugee Center. I and a bunch of people in Northwest Hub will be putting on a bike skills affair event for Salem, Kaiser area refugees. The hub has found that there's a lot of people that are coming, Ukrainians, Somalians, all sorts of refugees coming to the Salem Kaiser area. And bicycles are some of their main form of transportation, but they don't know the rules. We're also finding that there are a few that don't even know how to ride a bicycle. So we're going to try to do something that evening. My daughter, that's the Safe Routes to School instructor, she's also an ESL certified, so there'll be a bunch of people helping that evening.
Where is this?
It's at the Salem Refugee Center, and I don't know exactly where it is. I have to get some more details. It's somewhere out South Salem, so.
What was the time again?
5 o'clock in the evening.
That's the 31st.
And then on August 28th, Surf is back. That's where we can do more helmets.
Oh, 28.
The 28th. So we'll need some helmets, August 28th. And then October 10th is the fire department open house. And we've been invited again to have our booth and helmet fitting.
Okay.
So we have two big events coming up for helmets, as well as Kaiser Fest.
Are they giving us some, Surf Fest is sponsored by the The river?
Lake Point Church.
Lake Point Church. Are you, anybody not familiar with what they do? Because it's worth, okay. They've been collecting clothes and donations of time from barbers, nail people, job application, people who help fill out job apps, tons of things, clothing, and plus a bunch of just donated food and stuff like that.
And bike repair.
And we did, oh yeah, the hub was there and did bike repair. We were there with information and the helmets. Where was the last, it was at the middle school over off the Parkway.
Right.
The back side of that lot where the fields are was full of tents and people. And the inside gym was full of clothes and it was just packed. And the people coming have, I'm gonna say coupons or chits for so much clothing for so much for each kid they have. And it's for low-income people. I was amazed every time we've been there. However, the question was, each year they've given us cash to pay for the helmets.
I'm gonna have to talk to them.
I forgot how much it was, $500.
They,
Yeah, they give us cash for the helmets.
they figure out how many helmets, whether it was 20 or 30. And
Or
then
50.
Yeah, whatever the amount was, and then they get donations and give us the money for our fund, and then we fit them.
It will be, this year it's going to be here.
Where?
Okay, back here.
Back here, they're going to use the gazebo as well.
Okay, so that's convenient.
Yeah, that'll be
It's
convenient
a neat thing, and it doesn't, we got rid of all the helmets.
within an hour.
Yeah, we were here from like 10 to 11.
Yeah, and
Just
then
packed.
the fire department's open house will be in the evening, like I think they shoot 6 to 10. I think is what she said.
Yeah, people start showing up.
Yeah. I also attended the Northwest Kaiser Neighborhood Association. I just happened to be the chair, so I have to show up. And we had Anne Marie Storm from the fire department. That's why she invited. But you mentioned the closure on Windsor Island Road for construction, and they've closed. The neighborhood was upset, the meeting. The Monday, when the closure started, nobody seemed to know that it was going to happen. Some of the suggestion was maybe the city, next time they do some of this, put out some reader boards way ahead of time. The neighborhoods are there was clearly speeding through our neighborhood. People were mad, and Monday, Tuesday was, especially during the peak times, in the morning and then the evening, they're coming around on 15th, down Willow Leaf to get back in there. It caught a number of the neighbors off guard, and even though it was mentioned in the Kaiser Times, we heard about it at the meeting, that this was not well set
Is this a
up.
city project?
Yes.
Okay.
The whole Windsor Island Road from Chamawa to Lock Haven was
Okay.
closed. So
Wow.
that whole neighborhood, all of a sudden it's closed. And people at the meeting were very concerned that the city they felt the city did not let them know ahead of time. One lady said, I was late for work because I went my normal route down Trent and I couldn't get out.
This could be a lot worse if school was in.
Right. And so,
Well, the work needs to be done.
that's, I see our counselor is
Is he?
taking notes.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, it was a concern. Because all of a sudden, everything was blocked. And then rerouting the traffic through the neighborhoods did not go, at least on Monday, Tuesday, very well, because people were speeding through these narrow streets over there, trying to get around. And because some people thought, well, I'll just go down Willow Leaf and come out Trent. Well, Trent's closed. So there was a lot of
So is there?
There was only really one outlet, and that was 15th to Chamawa from that whole neighborhood.
But were there detour signs?
There was detour signs,
Okay.
but
Sounds like the city did what they needed to.
caught a number of people in the
Off guard.
neighborhood off guard. So, and the other thing, and you guys have mentioned this too, and where I'm going to mention it, with this kind of thing, would have been nice to have at least a police presence occasionally during this, because there was so much anger and speeding, oh God, at that point. And that was brought up at our meeting.
Okay, well, you can tell Sergeant Leday.
Yeah. Well, it was brought up that maybe just have, during the key times, the morning and then, 4 o'clock, just have somebody ride through there.
As the chair of the association, can you maybe give a call to Sergeant Leday to?
I was hoping to talk with
I
him
know,
tonight, so
I know.
I'm going to have to follow through.
Okay, thank you. Anything else you have on your list? Busy guy?
We're just moving ahead as a neighborhood association. We had about 15 people last night. Got a board member.
That's good.
And, Kaiser Food Bank was there too, in talking about their overwhelming need for food and donations.
Where is that at? Where's Kaiser?
The
Food?
Kaiser Food Bank is at
At a church.
the Lutheran, at the end of Cummings and Chamawa and River Road at
Okay.
Faith Lutheran. And they're open in the evenings on Monday
Okay.
and then again on Thursday. And because of COVID, they've had drive-through to pick up things, and they're going to continue because they found out that was more efficient than having people come in and stuff. But they are not part of the, all the other food shares, like the Oregon food share. They don't get anything from them. So there is just an overwhelming need in Kaiser, and the assistant manager lives in our northwest neighborhood. So she's just saying anytime.
And just drop off at the church?
Drop off at the church.
Okay.
There are some drop-off sites. Kaiser Rotary does it, has a barrel, and I think Southeast Kaiser at Mr. Video. But
There's a barrel in our lobby too.
yeah. The need's just overwhelming, and because of the supply chain issues, their amounts going down and down, and certain items they don't have. Cereal, they just can't get it, and that's such a staple. So that's it for me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Hirsch. David.
You're up.
All right.
Tammy, are you still hanging in there with us? Do you have anything for the good of the order?
I'm still here, and nope, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
We missed you last night. Sorry it didn't work.
Okay. I didn't quite hear what she said.
She said she didn't have anything.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Then it looks like, I lost my paper. Staff report from Mike Griffin is not here. He was sick today. And then our police liaison, Sergeant Leday, is not here. So I'm going to turn it over to Counselor Kohler. You have something for us?
Always.
Awesome.
Always. First, I just wanted to say, Chair Davis, thank you for the work that you're doing, and the meetings are moving along, and you're learning how to do it. I just want to say
Thank you.
It's getting there, and it's something that takes time to learn. And,
I'm working on it. Thank you, though.
I appreciate your diligence with that. I'd like to extend my condolences to all Hirsch's family with the death of his son-in-law.
Thank you.
What a terrible, tough thing. There's a lot of work that gets done with this committee that nobody ever sees, and I just appreciate what y'all do, and that you keep coming up and putting up with us. And
We're going to get some movement somewhere.
yes, well, and that's it. I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but sometimes when the wheel gets oiled, then it just makes things better. and everything's run smoother.
And that's
better
exactly where
anyway,
I
so.
think I can help out with this committee.
So I
thank you for
took
that.
some good notes, and we'll talk to council and some other folks about some things. And, I did find out that the tent at Kaiser Fest is a 10 by 10 tent. So it is a tent, not just a pop-up, but it'll be a real tent. So I texted to the chamber while we were talking about it.
Well, Counselor, we appreciate you being here and taking notes and bringing them back to council.
Yeah, Counselor Smith sends her regards. That she's middle of planning a wedding for her daughter, so
I know how that goes. I'm doing one too.
she thinks that's more important.
All right, well, I wanted to just ask the committee about our August meeting. I know sometimes in the summer we cancel, but I feel like with so many things that I want to get done before winter starts, I'm gonna ask that we all be here next month.
I cannot.
I understand.
That's gonna be the day of the
It is.
memorial.
Okay. I'm so sorry. All right. Say it again. No, he won't be here. Will we have a,
So far, we will. Is everybody else going to be able to come? As long as we have 4 people, we have a quorum.
okay.
I will not be able to attend next month.
Okay? So we're down to 4. If anybody else can't come, we
What's the
won't
date?
have a meeting.
The 18th.
The 18th.
I can't, for sure.
I'll be here.
So-
That's after Kaiser, yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah, it's after
Yeah.
Kaiser Fest.
Okay, I think we'll still have a quorum, it sounds. You guys just don't want to do the homework I gave.
Well, I'll try to do, if she does that.
Well, you're an overachiever, Hirsch, thank you. I know you'll do and submit whatever you can. All right, well, guess what? Adjourned.
Hey, I was telling you, if they cut all these trees, I'm gonna